Okay, I've got a question. What does a derailed trip to Hawaii, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and an inflatable unicorn costume have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2021's An Unexpected Christmas. We've got a lot to talk about, Jennifer.
We do, Josh, and we'll unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
The Jolly Sleigh Ride continues through our 12 Pods of Christmas Summer series with movie number 10. So we're going to tell you all about An Unexpected Christmas, award some gold or coal gifts a bit later on, and give you the bottom line. Is it worth the watch?
That's right. So let's get started. Here's the plot summary for Hallmark's 2021 movie, An Unexpected Christmas. Emily works at an ad agency and is sent to her ex's hometown before Christmas. She arrives at the train station as her ex is picked up by his family. They mistakenly think Emily is still an item, which isn't phrased properly. Like, that's bad writing, but
Yeah.
they think Emily and Jamie are still together.
Yes.
Let's get to it. So we open on a cityscape in Chicago, and our male lead is in his very nice city kitchen. He has a framed quote on the counter that reads, if you can speak, you can influence. If you can influence, you can change lives, by Rob Brown. Are you familiar with this quote or Rob Brown?
No, not at all.
I looked it up, and it is a quote that pops up on the internet, but I couldn't figure out who Rob Brown is, but that's also not it's kind of a generic name. I don't know. I get this feeling that Jamie, our lead, is very into TED Talks. Very motivational speaking.
Exactly.
So,
all about the grind.
Yeah, I guess so. So we get a clean-shaven Tyler Hynes, and he pulls out a Balsam Hill product placement box and places one more ornament on an already decorated tree, because why not? Our leading lady, Emily, Bethany Joy Lenz, is packing for her trip to Hawaii for a relaxation retreat. She's late for work at her marketing agency, and her boss is begging her, hey, cancel your trip, work your magic on a concept for this small town of Fulton, Illinois. And he woos her with the prospect of a promotion. She proclaims anywhere but there, but then she agrees to go anyways. Jamie's at work at a governor campaign office, and the governor needs someone witty and bright to write her campaign speech, which is going to be given on Christmas Day as though she is Queen of England. And the address needs to get the poll numbers up, and he is kind of voluntold to do it. He goes home for the holidays on the train, and what do you know? Emily shows up at the train station. His sister comes to pick him up and thinks that Emily and Jamie are still together because they were boyfriend and girlfriend as far as they knew. Spoiler alert, they're not currently together. They broke up 2.5 months ago. But sister doesn't know that, so she's like, oh, hey guys, great, and rushes them to her car. Giant oopsie doodle early in the movie. What are your thoughts out of the gate, Josh?
Well, this is so fun. I liked the fun nature of this start. I had to roll my eyes. Of course, Emily works in marketing, which is one of these vague careers that these people always work in.
But creative career. Yeah, we love a creative career.
We love a creative career that involves someone standing up at their desk, and it's always messy, of course, because creatives can't be organized, apparently.
No.
Jamie, I liked his character, political campaign worker. I got the sense earlier on that there's a backstory to him, and we'll hear more about that as we go. And I really liked that when they showed up at this town, that they were swept up by the family and had to sort of go along with it because there was no other option in the moment. I just thought that the way that they shot this and wrote this was really, really clever. I liked the start of this. What about you?
I love it. So Emily angrily gets in the car and is waiting for a moment alone so she can give Jamie the business about, hey, you didn't tell your family we're no longer together? What are you doing?
Whoops.
So Emily, of course, is welcomed with open arms. They chicken out. They don't tell the family the real deal yet. She walks into the family, and there's like secret handshakes going on. So you get the sense they were together a while. Like, they loved Emily. And she is pretty freaking lovable, to be fair. So Emily does tell them, hey, I'm not going to stay with you tonight because I have a meeting in town, blah, blah, blah. And they reluctantly convince her to stay for at least the tree decorating segment of their afternoon, which I think was less about her loving the family and more because they broke out another Balsam Hill ornament box, which is our second box in product placement within a 10-minute span of this movie. Because yes, dear listeners, we are at minute 10. Lots going on to establish the story.
Lots going on. Now, listen,
Yeah.
product placement drives me crazy, but I love Balsam Hill. So I'm very conflicted about these Balsam Hill references early on in this.
And they do make a gorgeous product. So who are we to judge? And at least it's related to Christmas, you know?
I'll give it that. It's not
Sometimes
like a
it's just
Walmart.
these all outlandish thing. Yeah. Okay. So Emily pulls Jamie in the kitchen. She smacks a cookie out of his hand and bickers, like, how could you not tell them? It's very funny, their banter. And then he's like, well, see, Granddad passed away, and it was just, I wanted it to be a good holiday for them, because Granddad passed away recently. So they reluctantly agree, okay, we'll just do this for one more night. We'll just pretend we're still together for today. So Jamie's mom, they go back out in the living room. Jamie's mom is a free spirit artist who is also the wife of the angry doctor in Scrubs. Anybody watch Scrubs? And she is like, hey, when are you going to start pumping out babies? And we get a spit take from Tyler Hynes. Bless. So Emily's like, please tell them tonight. And he takes her to the hotel, wishes him a Merry Christmas. And then that's the end of the movie, right? No, not so much. Jamie's still outside the hotel, and he's like going over, okay, how am I going to tell him? So he's like practicing what he's going to tell his family as though it's like a big to-do. And out loud, he admits to himself that her career was taking off and his was a wreck, and he was afraid he wouldn't be enough for her, and that's why he ended things with Emily. Would have been good if he ever told her that, because we get the impression he never told her why they broke up. He just ended things. Before he could get out of the parking lot, Emily rings him up and is like, hey, so there was like this whole befuddled mess because of the staff change on the project for marketing. I don't have a place to stay. Can I stay with you one more night? Oh, sure. So they postpone the truth again. They go back home. Jamie's assigned the playroom for his bedroom, and he takes sleeping pills and passes out. Next morning, Emily wanted to leave super early so she didn't have to see the family anymore and could just like sneak out. Well, Jamie's not awake because he's hopped up on sleeping pills, so she has to interact with the whole family. It's chaos. They're doing all these traditions. Everybody's yapping. Then the tree falls over for reasons undiscernible to me. Did somebody pull a cord? I missed something, but the tree, kaboom. Balsam Hill ornaments are a wreck. So they gotta go back to the box to get unbroken ones for the tree. Emily's like, let me go find Jamie. She goes upstairs, nearly waterboards him by like pouring a glass of water in his face to wake him up. She's so mad. It's noon. He's been asleep, and she says, I've been dancing the Fam Jam Bonanza without you downstairs. Just the banter, the witty banter, I'm here for it.
Oh, loved it.
What are your thoughts at this point?
I love this family. This family is like a tornado at the holiday season, and I feel like Jamie's dad, Tom, is like my spirit animal because he's in charge of decorating and he's in charge of baking, apparently, for this family. And I just was here 1,000% for Tom. By the way, did you know that Paul Campbell wrote this one?
I had forgotten that, but one of our dear listeners mentioned it, and I think I knew it way back in the back of my mind when it came out, but I had totally forgotten that. And you can tell because it is quippy. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And if you don't know who Paul Campbell is, if you're new to the podcast, he is one of these Hallmark stars who's been around the block, very popular, very well liked, and really, I think, spoiler alert, wrote a great movie here. I think it's just so fun to listen to the way that he wrote these characters throughout. The pacing of this is really fun.
Oh, it just like flies off the screen. Yeah. So Emily gets a call. Their dad is, to your point, he's installing all the exterior illumination, all the inflatables are coming up. He's not great at either thing. He's not great at the decorating and he's not great at the baking, but God love him, he tries. Excuse me. So they're outside doing that whole thing, and Emily gets a call from Jackie Joyner-Kersee herself.
Record scratch? Like, what?
Saying, I'm so sorry, I can't make it to the small town in Illinois to film the marketing video because the weather is so bad. So Emily's campaign is in the shambles, seeing as how the tag was going to be, quote, if you can't beat her, join her.
Now, listen.
We love a pun.
We love a pun, but what in the ever-loving mind of whatever was going on did we... Never in my right mind did I expect that I'd be able to check off Jackie Joyner-Kersee on my Hallmark Channel bingo card, but here we are. Do you know anything about the backstory on how they got her or why they got her?
Maybe she's a big Hallmarky. I don't know.
It was just so out of left field. I was like, beg pardon?
Yeah, I loved it because it was so random. It made no sense.
No.
But here we are. So Jamie's going to save the day. He's going to say, hey, if you agree with my girlfriend until after Christmas so I can hide from my family, I will get the governor, the current governor who he's working with to hopefully be reelected to the next term. She will show up in your marketing campaign and give the Christmas Day address. And it's not a big deal that your staff can't come because my sister's photographer, you can video, it'll be all good. And Emily agrees to the deal. Now we know I love a fake dating trope, so I am all about this. It's not quite Snow Bride, but it still tickles my fancy. All right. So the family goes to a town event and sings Jolly Old St. Nicholas on stage, which is the third time we've heard this song in the movie. I guess it was just a theme. I don't know. Kind of a random choice, a deep cut.
Yeah.
I guess so. Emily and Jamie reminisce about the night they met, and his parents dangle mistletoe over them with a fishing rod.
Because I laughed
His
out loud at
parents-
that bit because it just sort of
They really want the grandbabies. They're like, let's get going.
goes down out of the frame.
Who are these parents?
I love them. I love them.
I know. So then we see Jamie's big fat liar because he has not guaranteed the governor to show up yet. He hasn't even talked to her yet, or her assistant. Whoops. So he's stressed. He has a heart-to-heart with his sister about how she can find happiness while her son looks a hot mess in the Christmas program. Okay, because we have to B-plot that sister, who I like a lot, is working on the Christmas program. That night, we get a Christmas charades montage and an awkward slip-up with Emily saying she was going to Hawaii, and they're like, why were you going to Hawaii by yourself? Like, there's kind of these little Easter eggs and clues throughout that something is not all, it's not all well in Whoville in the Emily-Jamie relationship. Next scene, Emily is wearing the crown that says champ on it, which means she won charades. I thought it was subtle, hilarious. She's like working, and she's just rocking the crown because that's what the family does. Jamie and his sister go for a walk in the beautifully decorated she shed emerges, and he tells his sister everything, tells her the truth because she was kind of on to him, she tells him how dumb it is, and that if he doesn't marry Emily, she will, because one way or another, they're keeping that girl in the family, which I appreciated. We also learned sister, single mom, living with her parents. That's why she has the she shed as kind of a retreat and an oasis. Jamie's going to take Emily out to show her the town, and Bethany, Joy, Lenz, and Tyler Hynes proceed to give a master class of how to look natural and have amazing chemistry whilst drinking coffee, and then they drink soda, and then they drink booze. I brought one of my Christmas cups with me because there was a cup in their hands the whole time, but they're just the way they did you could tell they went a little off script and ad-libbed a little bit, but it just was so natural, so fun. We get to learn more of their backstory, this, that, and the other. What? You have a comment?
I have a comment.
Oh no, what, you didn't like it?
The comically large hot dog that she's eating.
It would go off the frame if we had it here. Yeah. And didn't we say, like, are you sweating yet? Or something?
Right, exactly.
The meat sweats.
I loved this scene. I think you're absolutely spot on. They absolutely did a great job of sort of doing that casual stroll through Main Street USA thing and making it seem super believable. But I had to just laugh at this like hot dog that was literally stretching the entire frame.
And like
Shot.
the hot dog to bun ratio was very skewed. Like,
So off.
it's like there was a supply chain issue and the cart only could get like the 3-foot long hot dogs, and they still had old buns. And so it was, it was a whole thing. So funny. They go to a jazz club that night, and we see a gentleman who walks in and says, Walker for two, and he nearly bumps into Jamie on the way to the table. Did you catch this cameo?
No.
It was Andrew Walker.
Oh my.
Was that guy. Yeah. Because I think Andrew Walker and Tyler Hynes they're related, and I'm going to get comments because I can't remember right off how they're related. Are they brother-in-laws? Cousins? They're related. So that was kind of a cute little cameo. Okay, so they're drinking, they're remembering their early days, and then the waiter comes, and Emily just tells this waiter everything, like the entire plot summary of the movie. And this guy is like, well, it happens to the best of us. Like, he doesn't know what to do. They go home and laugh and talk on the overly decorated porch, and There's a Christmas tree with family ornaments they reminisce about. Should have been Hallmark ornaments probably, but here we are. Jamie then takes her to a fountain in town where every stone in the fountain has initials of married couples. He then comes up with, because she was struggling on like what her new tagline's going to be since, Jackie Joyner-Kersee is stuck in a blizzard somewhere. And it was, Fulton, your story starts here. And she is so excited. She takes laps and runs atop the fountain, round and round. Super romantic. And then she thanks him for coming through for her one more time. Thanks for getting the governor. And he hasn't gotten the governor, so things get a little weird. What did you think about the fountain scene?
Fountain scene, it's classic to me. I think it was really well done. And I was sort of like, are they going to do that thing where they fall in the fountain and play in the water a little bit? But they didn't.
Glad they didn't.
I'm so glad they didn't. And I think that this is one of those scenes where it could have been cheesy, but because it worked so well for their characters and their personalities and the way that they had developed these characters, it actually made sense. Like, it made sense that her character would run laps around that fountain because we had the character development early on that is, of course, what she would do when she got good news and was able to sort of celebrate the fact that her campaign was resurrected from the dead.
Yes.
Thanks, Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks, Olympian. Come on. So Jamie gets on the phone with his coworker, Gina. He's begging, please get the governor here. And Gina comes through, and her and the governor are coming to Fulton, Illinois. Jamie's sister has a Christmas program, Casting Crisis, and basically blackmails Jamie into being in the program to fill a spot for somebody who's sick or something. And sister takes him to the train station to pick up Gina, and sparks start flying betwixt Gina and the sister. Okay. But the governor's coming later, so she's not there yet. They all go out, the whole cast we've met so far goes out to dinner, and wouldn't you know it, the waiter is the jazz club waiter from earlier in the movie, and he nearly spills the beans about their hoax. It's a whole comedic thing, like Jamie and Emily are crawling under the tables to hide from the server, and he's begging his sister to like pay him off to not say anything. It's a whole bit. So when Jamie and Emily are walking home, he apologizes for ending things, and then they see a shooting star, and it's very romantic. And the ice is thawing, maybe these kids could give it another go. We'll see.
Yeah.
Sister goes on a coffee date with Gina, and Jamie still has writer's block. He has written 0% of this Christmas Day speech. And he's a perfectionist. He just can't make a move, and Grandma gives him a pep talk, and she's precious.
This scene.
Go ahead.
This scene with the grandma might be my favorite scene in this entire movie. Like,
did it make you cry?
Oh, of course it made me cry, Jennifer.
Did you really?
Are you new here?
Josh's cry count. Was that the first time in this movie you cried?
First time in this movie I cried.
Okay.
The way that this grandma played this was just A+ for me. I just thought that it was this tender thing where she reminded him that life isn't perfect. It was one of those pep talks that was full of life wisdom all of us could take away. And I love when they do that, where it's like, life isn't perfect, relationships are messy, and if you are stuck trying to be perfect, it's going to lead to a path of disappointment. That was the big takeaway. And I think it was just what he needed to hear and what I needed to hear.
Oh. Okay, Grandma, thanks. I'll try to just roll with the punches.
We've got 3 young kids that week around here.
Feel that. No, it was very sweet. And it wasn't, like you like to say, saccharine. It wasn't Kirkland's wisdom. It was actually relatable. Yeah, super sweet. So Emily gets a call from her boss. He's like, hey, even though you haven't done the job I've asked you to do yet, we're going to go ahead and give you that promotion. You get a travel gig and get to go to the Cayman Islands or something January 1st. Cool. Okay. Well, later that night, getting ready to go on stage at the Christmas program, Jamie overhears the male photographer, who has now thawed and come to be with Emily on this work project, talking to Emily about the trip. Won't it be great to be gone for 3 months? That'll be so fun. Well, oopsie doodle. Jamie thinks that means she's not interested in him. He's like, you can just leave after, and I'll break the news to my family after the Christmas speech in the morning. Not a good look.
No.
Because Emily's confused. It's at this point that we see Tyler Hynes dressed up in an inflatable unicorn costume to save Christmas with the power of love.
Of course.
which are not words that I would typically say, but here we are.
Right.
He comes traipsing out, and we get a whole sequence of unfortunate events where fake snow and confetti gets blasted, the rainbow decor falls down, the crowd goes wild, kids are running around, but then it ends up being a big smash, and everybody's excited about whatever the plot was for this Christmas program.
It was very unclear.
Yes. But funny. Fun. I like fun. Okay. So Jamie and Emily talk on the stage after. They have an actual conversation. They actually lay the truth out. She's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I thought you were moving. Nah, 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 nah. She turns out she turned down the job. She thought they could give it another shot. And she's like, what do you want? Tell me what you want. And he says, nothing. Nary a word. Womp, womp. And she's like, okay, you haven't really changed. He asks, what do I tell my family? Bro, tell them whatever you want. She lays into him on the stage, turns around. She's like, I can't lie to your family anymore. Turns around, and wouldn't you know it, the whole family is standing there and has heard this entire interaction and the truth. Also, he doesn't have his speech ready. It's a whole thing. Emily is leaving the family's house. They're still like, please don't go. We love you so much. I think they like Emily more than Jamie at this point.
I was just going to say,
They
yeah.
extend a whole lot of grace to her as she leaves to get a hotel, and Jamie has several heart-to-hearts with individual family members and kind of goes down the line, mopes around in Sister She Shed, and then he staggers in Christmas morning, and I swear the man looked hungover. I know he wasn't, but my gosh, he was just like, he must not have slept well, I guess. He's trying to, get the energy up, and he's failing. He's like, come on, guys, let's do Christmas morning traditions. And they're like, it's just, we're kind of low energy. We're good. Somehow, he decides, you know what? I need to get Emily back. So he beelines to the... he had gotten the speech sent in, by the way. Very small detail. So he's like, let me track Emily down. And the family drives him to the place. Well, the governor had gotten stuck wherever at her house because her daughter had an asthma attack. So no governor. He's assuming Emily's ticked. Goes to the place where the speech was supposed to be. Emily's already gone to the train station. Then the whole family is in the car. They take him to the train station. He runs through the train station. He catches her watching the governor give the speech from her home with her daughter, who was fine. And she gives a shout out to Fulton. So still, I guess Emily kind of wins in the work department. A little unclear. They profess their love. She's turned down the job. She wants to stay put and have roots. He apologizes that she had to see him as a unicorn. They kiss. The entire family cheers and looks on because, of course, they do. And that's a Merry Christmas. But then there's a random scene of them back at the jazz bar kissing while someone sings. And it took me a minute. That song that was playing was written and performed by Bethany Joy Lenz. And so that's why.
There you go.
Is it good? Is it bad? Jennifer and Josh have some thoughts. It's time for Gold or Coal.
Okay, it's time for our Gold or Coal segment. This is where Jennifer and I get to give some gifts, right? And if there's more gold in this one, we're going to say, your story starts here. And if there's more coal, we're going to say, end of story. And if it's a tie, 3-3, we're just going to call it a Merry Christmas. Jennifer, hit me with it.
I'm giving gold for the fountain scene. We already talked about it, so I won't belabor the issue, but it was just it was beautifully shot, perfectly lit, very sweet. It had heart, it had excitement, it had fun, it had romance. Very warm and fuzzy feels for me.
I love that. I love that. Gold for me, I'm giving gold for the tone of this movie throughout. This movie had a lot of heart and some really great, meaningful moments, but it was upbeat throughout the entire thing. It was fun to watch and really well paced, and I think that they did a great job of sort of capturing the excitement of the season and also the heart of the season too. So gold.
I'm going to give gold for the crazy family. They were all too invested in Jamie's business, but you know what? A lot of families are like that, and I think it can be endearing. So, loved seeing them, loved their traditions, love how much they care about one another. Gold.
I also love the B characters. That family was great. Yes, I'm also going to give some gold for The chemistry here between these two, I just thought it was believable. They were a dream team couple here. And I think that it took me a minute to get used to Tyler Hynes, not with facial hair. But I think
I know.
they were smart to do that because I think they needed him to be in this role uptight and a little rigid, which is not normally the character that he plays. Normally he kind of plays
It's true.
like bad boy on a motorcycle. So it was sort of a different
Yeah.
him. And in this role, she was kind of the one who was a little, edgy, right? And I think that they
Yeah.
were really smart to kind of cross cast them. And I think that it really worked. That kiss in the train station was smoldery, dare I say.
There you go. I will round out my gifts with another piece of gold. The fake dating trope. Again, I already talked about it, but it's probably my favorite Hallmark movie trope. So I loved it. I thought it was fun. It didn't totally make sense, like he should just tell his family, but I was rooting for them and for them to kind of pull off this little heist or hoax, rather.
Well, my final gift is going to be gold, of course. It is a 6 gold here. I'm giving gold specifically for the way that Emily's character was written. I loved the snark throughout this. She just had these quippy lines that made me laugh the entire time. And it was this thing where she was annoyed with him, but you could tell throughout that she loved him, right? And
Yeah.
she was joking with him like a wife would joke with her husband. And I'm just so happy with the way that they wrote her. So for us, it was a home run, 6 gold. We're going to say your story starts here. And Jennifer, we weren't the only ones who really, really liked this one. We put this out on our socials, which I'm so glad we're starting to do this. So if you are not following us on Instagram, you've got to at Do You Watch What I Watch, where we're putting out a couple days ahead of recording. Hey, here's what we're doing. Let us know what you think. And so Christina said, fake dating is my favorite rom-com trope, and I love how Paul Campbell's writing, along with the fun performances from the entire cast, put a fresh spin on it. Sharon also said she loved it. And we had one for Mackie too, didn't we, Jennifer?
That's right. So Mackie said Bethany and Tyler are such a perfect match in this movie. Their evening stroll by the fountain. Yes, Mackie, we've talked about that. Makes my heart skip a beat every time when Emily's swatting the cookie out of Jamie's hand and Jamie's spit take when his mom brings up the grandkids are two of the funniest moments that I've seen in any movie. And then Kay said, great script, great acting, great chemistry, love this, and have watched it many times. Thank you guys for giving us your thoughts. We look forward to, like Josh said, continuing this conversation on the next movie. So stay tuned to our Instagram channel, or if you're on YouTube, we'll post something on our community tab, and you can sound off there ahead of time too. So if none of that works for you, you can just send us an email and go to doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. Everything's there. So there you go.
And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks, as always, to Nick Schwartz for our theme song and to you for listening and watching.
Hey, if you like our podcast, thank you so much for giving us a listen. Be sure to give us a 5-star review on your podcast platform. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to smash that subscribe button, like this video, leave us a comment, and engage with us.
We got a review. I saw it right before we recorded. Have you seen it, Josh?
No.
Can I read it to you?
Please.
It was from, it was an Apple review, and it's from a person called Diaper Genie. Excuse me, which we are all too familiar with.
Literally.
The Diaper Genie. Yep. So it says the topic is the title is Christmas is a lifestyle, not a season. Josh and Jennifer never disappoint. From cry counts to bee mops to gold or coal, I'm always highly entertained and in a more Christmassy spirit. Sit back and feel the coziness as if you were in front of the fire with your hot chocolate, even if you're really on the freeway to work. Best pod for the whole year. Diaper Genie?
Come on.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Love that. So what was your cry count, Josh, in the end?
So it was 2, right? So
Oh, no. Okay.
scene with the grandmom, and then we also had the resolution at the end where they said some sweet things before the kiss. Yeah.
In the train station?
Yes. And
Okay.
the train station, yes.
Ew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
Next time, we're going to be talking about which Hallmark Channel movies deserve a sequel, right? So stay tuned to our socials to give us your input. as we continue our march toward countdown to Christmas and the best time of the year. We will have much to discuss. And until then,
May your days be merry and bright. We'll see you next time.